Welcome. This is Sir 7. You can call me Sir, you can call me 7. This is my third YouTube video. Friends, in my first one, it was an introduction. In 2, we went kind of deep, talked about depression, isolation, and community. In this third one, I have something on my heart that I want to talk about, and that's community. I've always been someone who likes to build and facilitate the building of community, and I think I know a little bit something about helping us be able to build what community is, what we want community to be, and what we want community to actually stand for. And the first thing I want to talk about is accountability, right? And so when we talk about accountability, it is an essential part of any community or any pursuit towards building and facilitating community, right? Accountability is not the accountability that's a slap of the hand. It's not the type of accountability that puts someone in the corner. It's not the type of accountability that wants you to be a lesser version of yourself. The accountability that I'm talking about that really helps to build and facilitate community is the type of accountability that's actually at its foundation, care and compassion. It's the type of accountability that makes you want to do better, makes you want to be better, and makes you want to rise to an expectation. So I want to give you an example. If we're in the same community, right, and I do something that harms you, maybe I call you a name by mistake, I make a comment, a non-thoughtful comment, or I hurt you in any type of way, and say that you bring it up to me, the first thing I do is apologize. I acknowledge your feelings, I acknowledge what happened, and I apologize. Sincerely. Because if we're part of the same community, whatever hurts you, hurts me. Whatever helps you, also helps me. Therefore, your pain is my pain. And I think that's when accountability feels the best. When I'm able to apologize from a place of actual concern and connection, and then that person of whom I hurt is able to hear that and move on. And maybe that moving on isn't instantaneous forgiveness. Maybe that moving on actually is some time in order for the relationship to heal, depending on the actual, pain level that happened, and the actual person's your processing of that violence, right? So what I'm trying to say is that accountability is a promise of care and compassion. When entering a connection, when entering a community, we have to have promises of care and compassion. As it's going to happen when someone makes a mistake, it's going to happen sometime. In actuality, we should expect it to happen. We're humans. Therefore, if we're able to have some type of restorative practice when folks actually make those mistakes, we're able to do better and be better people. And not do better and be better for the sake of a certain product, but for the sake of each other. For being in community with each other and being around each other and being in that pursuit of mutual, I want to say, cohabitation. So that's what I think about when I think about accountability as a key of community. Something else that I think about when we are trying to build and facilitate community is joy, celebration. In the midst of resistance, in the midst of the macro, in the midst of the world that we're currently living in, suffering is rampant, right? So many of our siblings out there are going through so much, whether it be our trans siblings, maybe be our friends across the seas, whether it be our friends who are surviving war and genocide right now, whether it be your neighbor right across the hall from you who doesn't know how to pay their rent. People are suffering. Nevertheless, I want to be bold when I say this, joy is a key component when we're building and facilitating community. Because there's a resistance in our joy. Amidst all of that, those in power do not want us to be joyful. They don't want us to actually be in a space of celebration. They don't want us to acknowledge our small wins, like getting out of the bed, making ourselves some food, nodding at each other when we go into the hallways or going across the street, or even when we watch a video and leave a comment, or even when we share a video that is really important to us and that person likes it. Those are small things that are small wins, but they are many. And those many joys, those many moments of joys add up to be moments of resistance, moments of celebration. So when I think of resistance, when I think about building community, when I think of actually being within our power, I think of celebration. That's why personally, when someone does something or they hit a milestone, the first thing that'll come out of my mouth is, how are we celebrating? How are we celebrating? How would you like for me to celebrate you? Because we can't forget those moments. We cannot. And I know we're not in the age of scrapbooking. I know we're not in the age of, my grandma and auntie used to have those books, those photo album books. We're not in the age of that, right? We're in the age of taking the most glorious things and putting them out there. But they don't have to be the most glorious things. That's capitalism, folks. That's capitalism. It can be the mundane things. You can just take a picture because you want to take a picture. Because you want to mark this moment. And I don't know about you, but I want to mark a lot of moments. I want to remember a lot of moments that I go through. I want to be able to look back and be like, whoa, that was awesome. Oh, whoa, I remember them. And by being vulnerable, I think a part of me is fearful of forgetting. I think that's why I document things. That's the reason why I'm doing this whole video thing. Because I want to document my thoughts and document everything around me so I can remember them. So I can be like, yo, remember when I did that? Remember when I was in community here? Remember when I had that connection with this person or that person? I wonder, can it help me bask in the present even more? I wonder, can it help me be more mindful and thoughtful about where I am? And honestly, this is a form of a diary. I'm very transparent. It's holding me accountable to talking with myself more. But it's also holding me accountable to being in community more. Right? So that's accountability and that's celebration. Two components of community that I think we can tap into when we're trying to build and facilitate community, when we want to actually get out there and build connections, build relationships, or even think about the relationships that we have now. Accountability and celebration are key components, I think, of that building and that facilitation of community. The last thing I want to say is that I think we overcomplicate things, and generally we do. But I think when we talk about building and facilitating community, we think about construction, right? We think about, we think about trying to build this infrastructure that is similar to the Empire State Building. And maybe in its brilliance, in its complexity, in its multidimensionality, that community that we're building is the Empire State Building. And I think in the most simplistic ways, the building of that can be more simple than we think. The complexity is going to happen either way. We're going to have a melting pot of identities. We're going to have so many, I want to say, distinct personalities of the community. But at the same time, I think building community, building connections, building friendship, building kinship starts at the most simple of things. How are you relating to people? How are you relating to people? I want to give you an example. I've been trying to make more friends in my 20s. And I think it was so easy when I was in my early 20s and teens because I was put into these spaces in which we were pushed to make friends. In college, you just made friends. It wasn't that big of a deal. Oh, you like this? I like this? Let's be friends. As an adult, there's so much going on that it feels like I can't do that sometimes. But I'm reminded of that simplicity. You like this? I like this. Let's be friends. I used to say that. Some of my friends will tell you that I'll be like, oh, we're friends now. And I'll follow up with that, with some type of action. As an adult, I'm relearning that from my younger self. Oh, do you like to work out? I like to work out too. Let's work out on this day. Oh, you like this food? I like this food too. Let's try this restaurant. So I want to introduce you to that action, that habit, or that practice that's pretty simple. If you're someone trying to make new friends, if you're someone who's trying to put yourself out there, take this from an extrovert. When I want to make a friend, I find some common theme that we both have. Whether it's working out, whether it's food, whether it's movies, whether it's music, whether it's being the eldest sibling, but something simple. That's a hobby or a habit or something of interest that another person may have. Once you have that, build that connection off of that. Find out more about that individual, find out more about that community, find out more about that group, that project, and you're able to connect with it more. And honestly, maybe you'll find that you don't want that connection. That's all part of the practice. That's all part of the exploration. Actually putting yourself out there. And I think post-COVID, it's a bit different. And post-COVID, or whether we're in COVID, that's a whole discussion. But post-2020, it's a bit different. Making friends, putting yourself out there, building community. But I still think we overcomplicate it. And if we get back to the simple things, we'll see more connection, we'll see more community, and we'll see more of each other. And not just the selves that are online, that are on Instagram, that are the most glorious, the most romanticized, the perfect moments, the biggest celebrations, but we'll see more of ourselves that are more authentic. The selves that are down sometimes, the selves that are sad, the selves that are angry, the selves that are passionate, the selves that are really trying, that are really trying out here. Right? Like, how many of us are just trying? I want to see more of that. I want to see more of our authentic selves just maneuvering throughout this world. I think we can do that by leaning into the simple things. Lean into what feels right. If you have an urge to compliment someone's shoes, do that. If you have an urge to ask someone to be your friend, do that. You'll follow someone pretty easy online. So I don't know. I think we can get back to those simple things to build and facilitate community, make better friendships, and be our authentic selves. That's my take. I don't think it's that hot of a take. I think it's like medium hot. I think it might even be cold. But I'm interested in your thoughts. How are you building community? How are you facilitating the building of community? How do you make new friends? How do you make new connections? Do you do that? Are you wanting to do that? I'm curious on your thoughts. Thanks for watching, friends. This is the third video on community. I really appreciate rocking out with you. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Like, comment, subscribe, and share. Peace out.